Rides here again with a new bike. This is a 2020 KTM 390 Adventure. And today I'm going to be taking apart the outlet, the power outlet. I've already actually exchanged it from a cigarette lighter type to a PowerLet type, but I want to redo it because I want to put some Loctite on some stuff. So I thought I would show you the steps it took to take that apart. It's not too much, not too difficult, but I thought I'd pass it on for you guys. Enjoy. Okay, so to start this off, you basically just need a number 3 and a number 4 metric Allen wrench type of thing. I've got some T-handles here that work really well. So the gist of what has to happen is we need to take the shield off. We need to loosen up this little bit of plastic. The TFT has to come off, and then the plastic for the housing here has to be loosened so we can pull it apart a little bit, and that will allow us to take the power connector out. So let's get started. First order of business, take the screen off. Next, we'll loosen up the plastic, the 2 plastic housings up here. You don't need to have to take the whole thing off completely. You just have to take the 2 screws off. That'll allow the plastic to move enough to get the rest of the things out of the way. So now that allows these to move a little bit, which gives you access to taking the TFT off, which is going to be the next thing we're going to do. So there's basically 3 screws for that. There's 2 on the left side of the bike, and then 1 on the right side. So also done using the small, got the wrong one, the number 3. But that's why you need to loosen the plastic, because these screws are hard to get to otherwise. Okay, with those 3 screws, the TFT is now loose. So you can see it move. However, the plastic part on the side still tends to add pressure to the lower one. So at the very least, you should loosen those. And again, there's one on, in this case, one on the left side, which we'll go ahead and pull the screw completely out. And there's 2 on the right side, one lower, which is a little tricky with one of the other plastic pieces. You just have to be kind of careful not to scratch the plastic when you're turning it. I suppose if I had a longer T-handle, it would be even easier, but this is sufficient. That's those. So now this plastic piece can stretch apart a little bit. Makes it easy then to pull the TFT completely loose. There's a tab on the back that you need to press in to release the plug. For electronics, it's also a little fiddly. There we go. There, comes right off. There you go. So now you can see this is the PowerLet container that I put on mine in place of the other one. So you just have to pull it apart a little bit. Just a little bit. Come on. There we go. And then this piece just snaps off. And then there's a plug, as you can see here. That's the standard plug. The plug for the cigarette lighter is the same. It's pretty standard. Let me show you the cigarette lighter. This is the plug for the cigarette lighter style that was originally in there that I took out. So next I'll show you what I did to get this mounted in here. So as we look at the bottom of this thing, you'll see that there is a large plastic nut. That is what holds the rest of the housing on. So it took a little bit, break that loose. Okay, there's the plastic nut. This is the outer part that goes on the bike. this is all there. This is all original. And then this is the PowerLet, which has a nut that holds this into place. Let's see if I can get this thing loose. All right. So now this nut can come off. A little bit of loose things in here. Okay. Now, what I had to do here to make this work, so here's all the separate pieces. So these three pieces are what is part of the original equipment. It's hard to see in here, but there are two slots that are keyed so that this part can go in there. I shaved it down a little bit to give myself a little bit more play, and then the nut anyways goes on the other side to hold that in place. So the problem was then how to get the PowerLet to stay in this housing. And so what I did is I shaved this down a bit to make it a little bit flatter, and then that allowed the PowerLet to actually fit inside. Now, the other thing I had to do was to get a washer, and this looks pretty ugly because I had to get it ground narrow enough so that the black nut could go over the top of it. But this washer, in conjunction with the nut from the PowerLet, allows it to then to be, I can tighten it up, and that will hold it in place in here when I put it in this, and then the nut goes on there. So that's essentially how I have it connected up. So all I'm going to be doing today is putting some Loctite on here because I forgot to do it last night when I did this. The other thing I'm going to do, though, I think in this instance is I'm going to actually cut this down a little bit to give myself a little bit more bite on this nut, because I don't like the fact that I'm not really getting too many turns before it goes. So I'm gonna cut this down a little bit. It certainly won't. There's plenty of thread here for the nut to attach and hold it to the plate. You can see. Let me put it in here. You can see that there's plenty of thread. So if I cut down maybe 1/8 of an inch off of here, that's not going to reduce the hold that it has on here. So that's what I'm going to do this today. I've shaved this thing down a bit. So it's kind of hard to tell in here, but I've shaved it down enough that there's going to be a little bit more bite. Now with this, get my blue thread locker handy, and let's go ahead and put this together now. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. All right, now let's see how that's going to line up in here. It's close, but not quite the way I want it. Fortunately, the cover part here is what slides. The rest of it doesn't. So I can get it lined up the way I want, which is that way. And put our rubber washer back over it, or the plastic, excuse me, nut back over it. In this case, this is where the little locking, the tabs in the plastic help when we go to tighten the plastic nut up. Come on. All right. All right, that is good to go. So now it's ready to go back in. Okay, so now we're back here on the bike, and the reverse of what we did before is going to be done. So and that is it. So now let's show you how it works. Bingo. 12.4 volts. We're ready to go.